everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most wholesome Nintendo podcast on the internet. It's the Nintendo Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Console Caito, the sauciest potato, and on our journey today, will Caito buy a Steam Deck? I'm not sure. There's also questions from the community, so jump on into the Nintendo Drive. Ball! Here we go!
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Caito. My voice did a weird hey, everyone, it's me. And it kind of climbed up higher than I thought it would. I've been talking all day long as we record this off YouTube, just our classic Skype call. Just me and you, nobody else, no live audience. It's just us.
It's an origin story here.
That's right. Back to basics. Yep. No more Justin Masson. No predictions this week. It's no cams, no nothing.
Yeah. Weird time. Just circumstances,
Circumstances
have led to this, and that's okay.
Yeah. No. I'm thankful that you were open to it. It's one of those things of, I was just impacted by the news that I just read, and it's almost to the point where maybe does it feel silly to be impacted by this news? Doesn't happen all the time. And both of those things kind of culminate for me where I went, I just don't feel like screaming to a live internet audience about video games right now. So I just wanted to, go back to basics. We'll just have a chat about Nintendo, but I also just wanted to recognize, and I'm just honestly just really heartbroken for families who have to deal with that crap. I spent an awesome time last night with my kids in a tent in the backyard and had just one of the classic memories. And then I read the news like this and I am just heartbroken for people. So
agree.
Yeah.
It's honestly an unfathomable thing to even read about. So, Well, we're going to try to, lift everyone's spirits, talk about some video games here.
Yes.
So as always, reminder that you can listen to the Nintendo Drive and all of the Carpool Gaming podcast content over on YouTube, youtube.com/carpoolgaming. We do have a comment of the week from snapfishJKJ who says, the sass for the predictions was on point. And boo to the 11s on an Animal Crossing New Leaf port. It could happen. Thank you. It could. I'll take my 11s because
take your 11s
when it does happen.
It's a conflicting thing when you have a prediction and people give you lots of points for it. It's like, isn't that it? Maybe it's a good thing. That should be a good thing. It's meant to balance out the commentary that you're insane, but you get points for it.
Can you
have your sanity points? Honestly,
can you imagine?
Honestly, and whenever we don't even know what we're really predicting here. Nintendo still hasn't really announced anything for us to watch. But I was just about to say, I'm really looking forward to watching this showcase with you and live streaming it, and we'll have our reactions and everything. But it's nothing's been scheduled. Nothing's actually happening. So we'll just have to wait and see at this point.
But we know it's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and jump down here to a question from Donnie Reese.
Okay.
Who says, just hear me out. What if June goes by without a direct? Are we okay with what Nintendo has announced? Are we cool to wait on a direct until August, September, October?
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I know.
Don't you do that.
Here's the thing. Am I okay? Yes.
Yeah.
But it can't go that long.
Agreed.
In my opinion,
the whole summer. Can't. Agreed. But that is we've gotten directs at that time as well. So it's kind of I don't know that you do anything in between. It's not like a mid-August direct in lieu of June or anything like that. If it's not June, then I think Donnie's right about this. But no, I'm not okay. I am not okay. You know what? The world is garbage right now. We need Nintendo to tell us what to buy after September. Please, God, help us, Nintendo. You're my only hope.
I just think it would be too soon for them if they went that long.
Yeah.
If they went till September we don't know anything coming out.
Yeah.
That would be too long.
I agree. And because then things get lost in the messaging, I think. Then they have too much to say and you don't really know what the focus is. The thing is that regardless of E3 being a thing or not being a thing, whatever the case may be, Nintendo usually has a spotlight at this point in time. And we don't have what the spotlight is, whether we're talking about the holiday game or maybe they actually start to spotlight the sequel for Breath of the Wild. Like, we haven't gotten that yet. And that must be filled. It cannot happen in the fall. We need to have like our attention kind of focused at something. And we got nothing right now. We've got a whole bunch of stuff up until September, but Nintendo does a really good job of telling us exactly how to spend a couple $100 in the holiday months, you know?
Well, here's my question. Do you think that we don't know about the holiday game because Breath of the Wild was supposed to be that holiday game?
I wonder.
And they pushed it back?
That's a good point. It's entirely possible, but yeah, it's very possible.
So then, like, what are they trying to scramble to get? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems weird to me because I know games get pushed back.
Yep. Xbox is in a similar way right now too. Like, Starfield was going to be their holiday push, and that was probably it might even still be the focus of they actually have a showcase scheduled for June 12th. But they've kind of got to scramble a little bit as well to go, something's got to fill that space. Okay.
So how mad are you going to be if that was supposed to be the holiday game and it ends up just being Pokemon?
I actually, from a realistic standpoint, from a gamer standpoint, I'd actually be okay with it because then I would actually play that Pokemon game and like maybe even finish it instead of what I've been doing for the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months.
Right.
Bouncing from one game to the next and just buying one Pokemon, then buying Triangle Strategy and buying another Pokemon game. And like, what the heck am I even doing? So yeah, like when I think about it realistically, if we, and maybe for most people screaming on the internet, if we could just think about it just for a quick second to go, do we need 14 games a year in a 12-month period? You know, like big games? I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. So realistically, I'd be fine with it. But from a podcasting standpoint and from I probably should be outraged about this. Of course I'm outraged. We need something else. We can't just have Pokemon. What are you talking about?
Well, that's the thing, is because the majority of people are not us.
Totally.
You know, so the majority of people aren't just buying stuff on the eShop just so we can scroll through it.
Exactly. Oh, we haven't done that in forever. We haven't done that forever. Where's my Switch? I'm going to grab my Switch over here.
And look, here is the thing. Speaking of the eShop, the eShop burned me. The eShop did me dirty.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I am mad about this bee simulator.
Oh, Caito. What were you thinking?
That I played. What was I thinking? It looked the artwork sold me.
Yep.
And, you know, from the minute I started it up on stream, I knew I'd messed up.
Yeah. From the moment, like, was the menu, was it the font of the game logo?
It was immediate. The voice acting.
Oh no.
Because there's voice acting.
Jerry Seinfeld.
It was very bad. It was so bad. And I hate to hate on it because here's the thing. I think there is a person that this game would appeal to.
Yeah.
If you are very into bees.
Yeah, bee enthusiasts. Get excited.
If you are, yes. If you had like an elementary aged kid.
Yeah.
Who was interested in bugs and that nature and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But here's the issue. When you go into the bee mode, it gets very, how do I say this nicely? Trippy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was uncomfortable for me to view. I can't imagine the people, you know how things are different if you're playing it versus you're just watching it?
Right. Yeah.
Like I had to have stuff on the stream that was like, look, I think there was an epileptic warning prior to playing. And so I had to have something like letting people know, like, hey, there's flashing lights and there's weird colors. And
oh my gosh.
So it was just, we played it for an hour and that's all I could take.
That was enough.
It was just done. It was just done.
How much was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I know it wasn't a lot because any of the eShop purchases, I normally don't go above like $6.
Right.
Probably in that range.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining.
Not rounded to 5 or anything. 6 max.
I'll do that extra dollar. You know,
I feel like that's
really good.
Exactly. You had your limit at 5 and then you see something like extra appealing, but it was $6. You're like, this time I'll splurge.
I do not recommend paying the $20 or $40 or whatever it is. No, don't do that. Wait for it to go on sale if you're going to get it.
It's funny because you were describing like who this might be for, like maybe a elementary age kid who is like, you know, into insects and everything. Like that's my daughter. That is Ellie 1,000%. So I might find myself buying this game and going up to Ellie and say like, you want to be a bee for 20 minutes? Because I just bought this game and she might be very excited about it.
The controls are so bad though.
Oh no.
And the thing is,
what do you do? Why is it a bee simulator? Are you just like there to like,
you're just a bee and you're going around like pollinating flowers and bringing the pollen back to the hive.
Sure.
And, yeah, that's it. I mean, that's as far as I got. It's just, you can't even like sting people appropriately.
Appropriately? How can you sting?
I just wanted like, they just kind of say ow if you sting. I want them to like swat at me. I want them to try to kill me. You know what I mean?
But if you sting, okay, but when
they
bees
just
sting
like
people,
barely say ow.
Don't they die when you sting somebody? Isn't that what is that a myth?
Apparently not.
I thought bees died when they sting people. Maybe people can leave a comment.
I wonder if it's only certain types of bees. Maybe honeybees are not the same as like a bumblebee. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. That might be bumblebees. Yep. What do so you're pollinating? You're a honeybee in this case.
I believe so, yes.
Wait, do bumblebees, I guess they would also pollinate.
I think so.
They're so cute. They're so
you're
enormous.
You're just like going around, you're just collecting these, you're just going to flowers and then you go back to your hive.
Yeah.
And you just fly around.
Saying, what's up, queen?
And there's little like quests that you're supposed to do. You battle with other insects.
Oh no. This is the most in-depth coverage of Bee Simulator
we've ever had.
of any game. That's right. I was going to say the most in-depth that Bee Simulator has gotten, but you're right. Probably more so than, triangle strategy or anything. Yeah. Actually complex.
I'm just happy that I played another game that wasn't Animal Crossing.
See,
so I have to shout it out.
Yeah. You can stall the haters for a little bit.
Yeah. Even if it was slightly negative.
Yeah. So when we talk about your top 10 games of the year, by default,
this will not be in it.
Bee Simulator will be in it because you've only played 5 or whatever.
I'm going to go out of my way to play 11 just so this one can be out of it.
Exactly. Well, we'll see what you fill that with. I need to update my my Switch Lite here.
But then Triangle Strategy will be in it. I got to play 12.
Got to play a bunch of games.
I got to play a bunch.
That's the motivation.
Okay, well, it looks like you didn't play anything.
I don't think I played anything.
Capri, so
nope.
We do have one little news story here. Basically, Nintendo says it wants to avoid a repeat of the Wii U with Switch's successor.
Yep.
The Nintendo president has spoken about the results and the future of the company and says, based on our experiences with the Wii, Nintendo DS, and other hardware, it is very clear that one of the major obstacles is how to easily transition from one hardware to the next. To help alleviate the risk, we're focusing on building long-term relationships with our customers. While we continue launching new software on the Switch, we will also provide services that also use Nintendo accounts and other IP outside of gaming software. We intend for this to help build a lasting impact with our customers. So when you read this, what do you get out of this? Because I'm curious if it's the same thing that I take from it.
To me, the first thing, it basically just justifies why we still only have the Switch, why we don't have a Switch Pro, why we don't have a Switch 2 or anything like that. They're not even a little, they're quite a lot gun shy to change gears. And I don't blame them. Like the Switch is a huge deal. And you think about how momentous the Wii was, and you'd think, well, Nintendo is back and they're unstoppable. All they have to do is add a U to the end and it's like crash and burn. They're lucky to still be around. So I don't think that they've really ever even been outward talking like this in terms of how they go from one generation to the next. They've kind of just backed on their IP and their name. But I think that they've had one too many failures on this front. So I'm glad that they're being mindful about it. But what it kind of freezes them a little bit. And I want them to continue to innovate. And it's just a matter of like, where do they innovate to? Like they've got something that really works here. I don't want them to steer too far away from what the Switch is because I really like it. I could just because I'm not creative in this way, I could just have Switch and more powerful Switch for the rest of my life. If they just like give me more powerful. But is that what really keeps people engaged? I don't know, because you probably could have said, give me a 3DS for the rest of my days and that would be fine. But this is better.
But
apparently.
they did for so long. That's what I don't understand. So that's what I'm trying to read into this. Based on our experiences with the Wii, Nintendo DS, and other hardware, does that mean that they are taking into account the success that they had with the DS?
Most definitely.
And like, hey, this worked. All we did was continue to improve upon it. Yeah. Let's just take the Switch and improve upon it rather than, because the jump from the Wii to the Wii U was not just taking the Wii and improving upon it. It was like, hey, let's basically scrap this entirely and come up with a whole new system. And I hate how Nintendo does that. I mean, I guess it led us to this point. Yeah. Where we are now. But I just feel like they've landed on something so good. Yeah. It would be so silly. And I guess I could say that, and then the next thing comes out, and I'm like, oh, this is the best ever. I can't imagine if they had stayed with the Switch, but I just can't imagine anything better than this.
I remember before even the NX was really being talked about, for those people who've been following Nintendo for a long time, before the Switch was the Switch, we knew Nintendo was working on the next console, which they had codenamed NX. And we didn't really know what exactly it was, but everybody was hoping that it would be exactly what it turned out to be, which is a hybrid console. And that never happens with Nintendo, where you go, I hope they do this. And then they did it exactly as people were just making up in their dreams and all these things. And I think that has a lot to do with why it came out of the gate so strong, is because this is precisely what people wanted from Nintendo. They loved the consoles, but they weren't as powerful as the others. They also liked the handheld market that they've been dominating for so many years. So it's only logical at that point that the worlds kind of collided, and that's exactly what they did. There is no version of that from here on out, I don't think, of something that is obvious for Nintendo to do next that everybody's like clamoring for. The only thing I can think of is making it as powerful as like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X kind of thing. And I don't even know if that's necessarily the answer, and certainly not something that Nintendo traditionally would do, I don't think.
It's just so hard because they're in such a unique position. I feel like they have the IP that I feel like they just don't have to worry about competing with Xbox and PlayStation. Totally. It is its own entity. And you don't even have to worry. We're going to talk about the Steam Deck here in a little bit. Yeah. And you don't even have to worry about competing with something like that because it's just an entirely different thing. Yeah. And I feel like if they focus too much on that, it's going to drive up the price point so much that you're going to alienate so many people. Because Caito, who wants to spend so much money
Okay, follow with. Stick with me here. You could throw out the Nintendo Switch Pro rumors that have been going around. It's Nintendo 3DS Switch, 3D Switch.
Oh no!
Yep, you don't need goggles. It's just a 3D.
I don't want that.
I know.
Do not stop it. Give me the OLED light.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
I do want that.
Yeah,
but, not a 3D. I hated that.
I
never used it. I looked at it one time and then I was like, yeah, it's off.
The funny thing is the 3D kind of component of it meant that the 3DS had to be more powerful by quite a lot than the DS, and that gave us better performing games and all these other things. When you look at a 3DS game compared to a DS game, 3D or not, like those games were way better in the visuals department. So like when I look at this statement based on our experiences with the Wii and Nintendo DS, I actually look at like the Wii as a bit of a counterpoint to the Nintendo DS, because the Wii did not transition nicely to the next, but the DS did transition, I would say, at least in the long run. DS went to 3DS quite nicely. They had a hiccup when they first launched that it was way overpriced.
Way too expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
They apologized, and they the whole ambassador thing that has been well documented at this point. But yeah, I think that maybe that is part of the commentary here from, who is this, Furukawa? Yeah. That it's hard to transition generation to generation. This is what Xbox has been talking about for years at this point, where they really built what we now have as the Series S and X as a continuation from the Xbox One. And for some people, they didn't like that a lot at all. They're like, we want a generational leap and we want to feel the difference. And PlayStation was quoted as saying, or talking about like, we believe in generations. And there's hiccups that come along the way when you don't have it as streamlined as just buying a new PC that's a little bit more powerful. You have a totally different operating system and games don't transfer over. There's all these things that make it less convenient for the player. So I'm glad that Nintendo's actually considering this, because in the past they just kind of went, well, they'll buy it anyways. And who cares if the cartridges fit or don't fit? At least they're thinking about it. I just hope that they've got the next thing kind of sorted out already, because it's kind of time for the next thing to happen, I feel, but maybe not.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about this statement where it says, provide services that also use Nintendo accounts and other IP outside of gaming software?
Outside, yeah. What is IP
Just the
outside?
Movie?
I guess so.
Like, that's supposed to keep us interested, is that you're releasing a Mario? That can't be it.
Well, I don't know how that necessarily drives people back to games, but it definitely expands. Like this is so dorky to talk about, but it diversifies like their revenue stream. So it's not 100% gaming, and even the fact that they've got services, it's not just consoles and game sales. We're spending money on subscription services as well. So now they'll also allow us to spend money on movies and other things. So Nintendo's been entirely dependent on too few sources of revenue. I think that's what he's talking about there. What I wish it spoke more clearly to is that it all centers around gaming, and it will help us like stick with the consoles, and the going from one generation to the next isn't so bumpy. But I don't think that's what that talks about at all. It's just gamers and customers will have more Nintendo stuff to buy from here on out. And it's probably why Amiibo is even a thing.
It's just so interesting to me because, let's be honest, Nintendo is not hurting for money at this point. So, and I'm not an analyst by any means or anything of that matter, but like, I just don't get, it shouldn't be that challenging, in my opinion. Like, okay, this is working. Let's keep doing what's working.
I think it's just a matter of, well, I think what Nintendo does is they put all they sole focus into just a console itself. And you have to think a little bit more broadly, I think, when you think about architecture that would service multiple different types of consoles, if that makes any sense. Like, they just think we're going to build hardware and software around a Switch, and that's it. I'm not going to think any further along than the Switch. And then years go by and you have to build something else that has to be more powerful. But if you're looking at kind of your old blueprints, it's like, well, we didn't even know to consider how fast things were going to get, or how, like, what architecture it could be built off of. So you have to think much further down the line, and Nintendo hasn't really ever had to do that. They just dump everything into a single experience, because really that's generally in the past, that's been the benefit of console gaming over PC gaming, was PCs have to do more than just play games. They have to browse the internet and listen to music and do all these different things. You got like better performance out of consoles with less, it seemed, because that's all they did was play games. There was this tunnel vision that actually ended up benefiting consoles. But in order for you to have, I don't know, some sort of bridge between one console to the next, you kind of have to broaden the approach a little bit. And Nintendo just really hasn't ever had to do that, I don't think. And that's why Microsoft is able to do it with Xbox, because that's what they've been built on, right? That's in their DNA. So hopefully they actually shift this with Nintendo, I think. Because I just don't, I want to keep buying Nintendo. I don't want another generation of Nintendo consoles where I have to apologize for everything like with the Wii U. I just want it to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of PC gaming and all of this console stuff.
Yeah, things that look like a Switch.
Should I buy the Steam Deck? That's my question. I pre-ordered it. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how long it was, forever ago.
Yep.
I finally got my email. And I'm curious your thoughts on this. I saw a lot of people complaining about this process. Yeah. This pre-order process. I didn't hate it.
How come?
I didn't hate it. I mean, would I have rather been able to pre-order it and get it on a certain date? Sure. But like, I only had to put $5 down.
Right.
To pre-order it. And they made it very clear from the beginning, hey, we don't know when these are going to be here. Yeah. Like, they were transparent about it.
Yeah. So in lieu of that, like, yeah, would it be ideally, would you like to just walk up, put up $50 for a pre-order and have it on the day that it launches? Of course.
Yeah.
Right. That's the standard we all know and love. But if you don't have that, then you have really what PlayStation 5 has, and to a certain extent as well, like Xbox Series X, where you'd love to be able to pre-order one. Nobody knows when they're coming in. When they do come in, it's first come, first serve, and you better be there like at the moment it launches. And if not, then you're totally screwed. I think the process you're talking about with this is way better than that. And I would have I kind of ended up having that with the PS5, and I still ended up waiting months for my damn thing.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna buy it.
I think you should buy it. Yeah.
I've been hyper fixating on it and watching reviews about it and everything. That's what I normally do before I'm about to purchase something, especially like electronics. Like when I was gonna buy my Kindle or when I was gonna buy the Switch, I watched like tons of stuff about everything. And I think I'm going to.
You're there. If you're doing all those things, you're buying it. Have you ever done all that and then not purchased the thing?
Ooh. I mean, yeah, because I hyperfixate. I have an example.
I'm just calling you a liar to your face. Because you're lying.
I've hyperfixated on a MacBook Pro before.
Yep.
And did not buy it.
Fair.
Did not buy it.
Yeah.
Went with the
different price point
gaming laptop.
Oh, okay.
Instead.
Well, never mind. Okay.
So yeah. Even though like the MacBook is just so pretty.
Yes.
And gaming laptops are not.
I know. What the heck? They suck.
So ugly.
I know. You open the box and it's just like, I'm a gaming laptop. Like, we get it. Like,
and like the one that I got, I feel like is so low profile compared to a lot of them. I got an HP Omen. Yeah. And it's like, it's black. It's, a lot smaller. I used to have an Alienware.
Oh,
which was just like, it was out of control as far as the way that it looked. But yeah, so I've definitely done that before and not purchased. But this is just like so up my alley that I feel like I need to purchase it.
Yeah, because you play, I think we had this conversation when we talked about the OLED. Like you actually play, I think, quite a bit more handheld than even I do.
Oh, almost exclusive. Unless I'm streaming, I'm exclusively playing handheld.
That's wild. Holy cow.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be buying this thing. Because also this is how you get Sims 4 on Switch. It's with your Steam Deck.
But I don't know how that would work. I'm curious. Like, can I enter all the same cheats that I use? I was kind of trying to watch the little trackpad that you use. Like, can I actually play The Sims on this thing comfortably? Yeah,
because it's a lot of mouse, really.
A lot of mouse.
Yeah.
And like fine mouse movement. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you're really,
So then I'm like, okay, what am I going to be playing on it? Halo? Can I play Halo on it? Is that a thing yet?
I think you can play Halo on it. Yeah, well, I think Halo's on Steam. So yeah, you can play Halo on it.
Well, I was watching a video about like, there are certain games that are not approved is not the right word, but basically like they've tested them a lot and they are like, hey, these are safe to play. And then there are other ones that are like, hey, these are kind of okay, but there might be some bugs in them. So I don't know. That's
PC gaming in a nutshell, honestly. It's like you kind of don't really know what you're going to get. Well, the only thing I would say too, though, is you're pretty safe to buy it. And if you don't like it, you could sell it for at least what you paid for it.
True.
And you don't have to, I don't know, like some people might be kind of like, like don't sell it for more than you paid for it. I think you're not necessarily scalping it in that case.
True.
You're not buying it to like make money off of it.
You know what else I could play? Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Dude, yes.
I wonder if that's on there. Oh, I'm gonna look into it and see if I can find out like, okay, which games are actually playable.
Yeah.
And see if that's a factor. But if a lot of them are, then
and different from Switch. I think that's the key thing. Like Switch has a pretty decent library, but you are interested in games that really aren't on Switch or not really playable on Switch that you want to play handheld. That's the key.
Yeah. Yeah, because imagine if I could like play Halo just handheld.
Would that actually get you playing with us more often? Like is that something that prevents you?
Yeah, because I have to like go downstairs. Like our Xbox is in the living room.
Yeah.
And it's just a hassle for me to like go and set everything up and do this and do that. It's just a whole thing.
Would you play like in bed? Like I went to read a book. I went to go read some Scott Pilgrim in bed the other night and I just fell asleep. Like I had basically made up my mind. Like, why do I bring anything to bed with me? I'm not playing anything. I'm not comfortable sitting up in my bed and I just end up crashing anyways.
Oh my gosh. I live out of my bed. I edit.
Oh my gosh, really?
In bed? Yeah. Yeah.
I wish. Oh my gosh.
I edit, I film, like I record voiceovers.
You film?
Yeah. Because I just hook up my Elgato
Yeah.
and just record Animal Crossing
The
in bed.
the adaptability from
I know.
Caito. Holy cow.
Yep.
I'm like, I need my chair. I need my recliner chair. That's where I get all my good
No, I
reading
do
and
think-
thinking done.
I do think I would be more productive in a desk setting. Like I'm in a desk right now.
Yeah.
And I think I would be more productive if I was in this setting. But,
Yeah.
you just make it work.
Tune in next week, everybody, when we go live at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, live from our
Caito's
respective beds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you get a great camera angle as well from your laptop, looking up at our chins,
Yep. It'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you should know because we've done, I've done recordings from there, shows from there, even
I don't
like
know, on camera.
Aiden's bed.
On camera?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, we weren't posting it on camera, but
Right.
we could see each other. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, okay.
So
Let's get
Steam
into some
Deck, buy it.
questions.
How long do you have to
Yeah.
wait? How long do you have to decide about this?
I have 2 more days.
to
figure it
You got to
out.
make up your mind. You just got to
I know.
just click yes. Take the, what is it, the blue pill? Which one means yes?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm going to say yes, though. I think.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm like 90% sure.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to get it. That's awesome.
I know.
Which one? Like, there's different kinds. Do you know which one you?
I went with the lowest one, and
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that I did because
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of reviews about it, and everyone was saying that it's the better of the options.
Interesting.
Just because I don't understand all of that stuff. I'm being perfectly honest with you, like adding the memory and the this and that and blah 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 whatever. But everyone was saying you can just add an SD card and
Yeah.
increase your storage, and that it loads the game from the SD card. So actually the ones that are higher power, I'm sure someone's going to like say, oh
Well,
no, you're totally wrong.
actually-
Yeah. Yes. I'm just going based off what I was watching. Okay. That it like loads it from the SD card. So it's actually can only load at a certain speed anyway, even if you have the other one. I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know.
Anyway.
I haven't looked into it at all.
Look, I don't need this high power situation. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
we have a Switch
content-
right now.
I'm content with the lowest of the low. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
Okay,
just
we
glad
gotta
that
get-
this is a thing. Okay, I'll get into questions.
we got to
got
get
a
some
lot.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a lot. Okay, Gingy37 asks, what are your favorite Nintendo IPs that are missing from the Switch?
Oh,
Kid Icarus, Nintendogs, Golden Sun, Pilot Wings, etc. If you could pick one to come to the Switch, which one would you pick and why?
what a great question. Does anything come to mind for you rather than me just talking forever again?
I want to say this one, but then I don't want to say it because it's so obvious.
Yeah, Wave Race.
Wave Race.
Yeah.
I want Wave Race like I want a modern version of Wave Race.
Yeah.
Like a new Wave Race. I would also love the 64 version, but I want them to do a new one.
I would
but there's-
definitely take both.
I feel like there's so many I could pick.
Yeah.
Like
I-
Nintendogs, yes. Of
Oh,
course
for
I
sure.
want that.
Well, and you have no love for Star Fox. I cannot believe. And shout out to the episode last week. I had a ton of fun doing the predictions with Justin Masson last week. But I can't believe the absolute no love and full shade for Star
Okay.
Fox that you have.
I loved Star Fox growing
Oh,
up.
past
The
tense.
same way that I loved Banjo-Kazooie growing up.
Yeah.
But you play them now and they're just not good.
Were there any other fan favorite franchises you want to?
Like I think they could make it good? Maybe. Like I feel like Banjo-Kazooie has a better chance than Star Fox.
The best you can give it is maybe in this totally hypothetical situation is like, possibly.
Yeah. It's just Star Fox is just I don't know.
I get it. You know, they'll just have to show you.
How many
They
times
need
have
to
they
earn
tried?
it. Yeah, they need to earn it. I get it. That makes sense.
How many times do you have to try and fail? It's not coming back. I mean, based off of what totally irrelevant. Based off of what he said, the president said it's not coming back. They're not gonna go They know what fails. Star Fox fails.
What if the whatever E3 presentation, like what if it is like just even the worst case scenario and the most tone deaf thing Nintendo could do is say, we know you guys have been asking for Star Fox, so we're bringing you to the Nintendo Switch Star Fox Zero, the classic game from Wii U. Like, could you imagine? It's like the final port that they have to do. They haven't they brought everything else over from Wii U over to Switch, but not that game. There's no, that would be awful. That would be just terrible. I wouldn't like it very much at all. I played, my kids every once in a while would just like put a controller in my hands, and I should have said I actually did play a game. And my daughter Ellie, who is worrisomely aggressive in a lot of different ways, she wanted me to play the punching game, as she called it, called Super Punch Out. And so she loves this boxing game, and I think it would be awesome for this game to come back. I know there was was it Wii or Wii U? They did have a recent Punch-Out game, but I would like this to be reignited to a certain extent. I think that would be good. What are your feelings on F-Zero? I feel like you also don't like F-Zero.
I don't think I know enough about it. I think I played it maybe as a kid, but it's not something like vivid in my memory.
Oh man, that was the game we rented all the time because we didn't have a Super Nintendo, but for birthdays we would rent a system, and F-Zero and NCAA basketball was always one of those games. Goodness gracious. F-Zero
Looney Tunes B-Ball.
I had a was it Looney Tunes or Tiny? I might have had a Tiny Tunes game on my Game Boy at one point. That was pretty decent, but not necessarily
I loved
Nintendo.
Looney Tunes B-Ball. That's not Nintendo though.
Yeah.
Any other Nintendo IP? I don't know if there's anything else.
I'm surprised there's no Pilot Wings, because Pilot Wings can also take advantage of like motion controls or any other sort of like weird gimmick that they've got going on. You know, it seemed to work really well, especially on 64, where that was the first time we had an analog stick. So I'm surprised we don't have a Pilot Wings. I wouldn't be mad about that at this stage. But I think my number one pick probably is F-Zero, followed shortly by Star Fox. And maybe out of this list, probably Pilot Wings.
Yeah. I think those are good options.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Joey Splats. Thinking how popular 1-2 Switch would be right now if it was a package deal.
No doubt.
Reading Reggie's book made me think this. It would have sold over 100 million with everyone loving it and enjoying it. Was this a missed opportunity?
Yeah, so in the book, they go into some detail about how Reggie really had to fight for Wii Sports, I think it was, to be included. I actually haven't reached this part, but I saw, there's spoilers about this book all over the internet. Thanks, internet. I'll get there when I read that part. I'm pretty sure that's what the argument was about. So I imagine that that's what led to like just the fact that it wasn't part of Nintendo's culture to give away games, that's why we were to buy 1-2 Switch instead of it being packed in with a Switch. But I agree, like this would have been, they already proved the model with the Wii that you need when you're doing something like this, just include a game that has everybody going, I need to buy this system so I can play this super fun game. And even if it's short-lived, at least you sold the system. You got people in the door instead of trying to sell two separate things. I'm shocked that it's not just a standard thing. I think a lot of parents in general are just shocked when a game system doesn't include a game ever.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you have to buy a game separately? Like that's, it's but people do it anyway. So we've now, because we're a bunch of dumb idiots, we buy the system and then a separate game, we've proven that you don't need to include it. But yeah.
Well, not only was it a separate game, wasn't it a full price title? I'm pretty sure it was a $60 game here in the US.
I think so too. Yeah, it's hard. I can't remember exactly, but I remember at least it certainly wasn't like $20.
It wasn't. No, because I remember pre-ordering all the things that I wanted to get. Price. And I think I got two games. I definitely got Zelda, and I think I got Bomberman. Yeah. Was my other one. I think that same day it was like Just Dance was releasing, or maybe that was a couple days later or something. And then 1-2 Switch. And I remember him asking me if I wanted to pre-order it. And I was just like, oh, I don't think so. Yeah. Like no one's going to play that with me here. So like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean?
And I feel like people actually would have like talked about it completely differently if it was a pack-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they also packed in Nintendo Land. Like we think about Wii U, it did come with a packing game, but at least with the higher priced model, I don't think it came with they have an 8 gigabyte model, the white one. Did anybody even buy that? I want to know. I want to hear from people if they bought the whatever that was called, just the 8 gigabyte white Wii U.
I had a Wii U for like a month.
Oh, okay.
And then I returned it.
You missed out. You returned it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think I traded it in. I was just like,
gracious.
no, this is not for me. Not for me. I played Mario Kart a couple times and then that was that. I don't remember. I think I traded in for something, but I don't remember what it was.
Wow.
Maybe like I don't remember the names of everything, like a new 3DS or a new
That's what
double new 3DS. I don't know.
New Wii U.
I couldn't remember. Okay, next up, Nagachaka. Let's talk GameCube,
Yeah.
a system that I never had.
Yeah, me neither.
Should Nintendo charge us more money for another subscription service? Nagachaka, get out of here with this. More money for another subscription service for GameCube games, or release HD ports at full price for individual titles because of the strong GameCube library. Either way, sign me up for some more classic Nintendo manipulation.
Yep.
They should no. The answer is no and then yes to me.
What do you mean?
No, they should not charge for another subscription. That would be
Okay, agreed.
asinine.
Agreed.
It should either be included in the expansion pass thing, or they should come out as separate ports. Which to me is probably what they would do.
They already bundled in Sunshine in with the terrible Mario 3D All-Stars. So there's part of it there. I'm sure we're going to get a Wind Waker HD remake coming up here as well, even though I didn't necessarily predict it. I would not be surprised. Is that part of my 2022 things? It's not part of my 2022. How did I not do that?
I just have such an unpopular opinion with this that I'm just scared to even say it. And I am such a hypocrite too, so I'm also scared to say no, because I think for me, I don't have nostalgia with GameCube because I never had one.
Yeah.
Like there are some games when I'm like, Wave Race, for example, like I really want that game to come, but if it never comes, I will be perfectly content. At what point are we done with this?
Never.
It's just this forever and ever.
Oh, we went two totally different things. I went forever. We are definitely not finishing each other's sandwiches. Oh my gosh. Yep.
Give me GameCube.
Well, I thought you were going to say that your controversial opinion might be that you're okay with just buying the games like individually. This is kind of what we're asking for anyways. People are super upset with this whole subscription model. Like, just give us virtual console. And I think that without actually getting virtual console, that it's kind of, this is what we're left with, is HD remakes one game at a time. And I don't hate it, because I think what a lot of people are finding, especially with the 64 games on expansion pass, is those games don't really control all that great, in addition to them not looking super awesome or performing all that well. I think I want a bit of a polishing on some of these older games, whether they're 64 or GameCube or even Wii or Wii U. Like, I don't hate the that extra polish that comes with it. And for the most part, I think it's worth the price of admission. And I would love, again, leave your comments below. Where has that not been a good thing for us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would much rather pay for an updated version than just have it be thrown in.
Yeah.
And it be terrible. Because the chances are much more likely for me to play it if it's an updated, like they've invested. Obviously, they have to put time into it regardless, because they've got to, get it changed over to the Switch, whatever they do. I don't know. Program for the Switch. But I want them to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want better graphics. I want better stuff. I want better controls. I want you to go in and like fix stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was the case with 3D Mario World is a good example of this. We got a better version of that. I think Skyward Sword is another good example of this. Like and Nintendo, when they actually try, they can do this better than anybody, which is why I throw shade at 3D All-Stars, because it's like, what were you doing, Nintendo? This is Mario, for God's sakes.
That was a big flop. Huh?
Mm-hmm. I want to throw out there, speaking of the eShop 40 minutes ago, that a game called Inside is quite scary, and probably for the mature audiences is $2.50 on the eShop. Ooh. And one of the best games you could buy. It's just a creepy side-scrolling thing, puzzle-ish game. And I would highly recommend it. Probably one of the best games that came out that year.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. There's lots going on sale here. There's a whole cat bundle here. Remember I played Cat Milk a while ago?
There's I have a lot of those cat games.
$1.90 for .cat. What is this? Paw .dog. What? A .dog and .cat milk. Oh my goodness! What a deal! What a bundle!
What a deal! Look, I'm just, I don't know if I'll ever recover from the eShop.
No, I'm in it right now. No, I'm here. I've purchased. It's sad when it's like you purchased this one already. You purchased this one already. There's a bunch here. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uno is there on sale, guys. Go check it out. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Fair.
So let's answer this question from Brian, who says, with more games getting delayed recently, do you think it's conditioning consumers to expect a delay when a release date window is announced?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Should more publishers wait to announce games until they're in the final stages of development, or take the Nintendo approach like with Xenoblade Chronicles 3?
Which is what, like just hit the date or make it earlier somehow, like announce a date and then actually make it earlier. Yeah, that would be awesome if every game did that. I think the biggest thing on this is it's making people not care. It's making people apathetic to video games. And that's a dangerous spot to be in, where people hear an announcement about a game and they're instead of not even just like not allowing themselves to be like pumped about or not trusting that that's a real release date, they go even further to go like, I just can't bring myself to care. And that is not where you need a fan base to be not excited about games and not caring about it.
So I'll ask you this. What is your sweet spot with the announcement of a game?
I mean, if only we could have string together, like give me an announcement give me a date that you're actually going to hit. I don't know. Like it doesn't have to be anything too extraordinary. Just give me a date and hit it.
Yeah.
And if we can string a couple of those together, then we're in a totally different spot.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I don't think they should announce the date until they know that it's ready. 100%.
Yeah.
However, I do want to know about games that are coming.
Agreed.
Way ahead of time. Like I want to be excited. Like if they know the next Animal Crossing is coming, go ahead and tell me.
You can know that now?
I'm ready. Yeah. Oh, tell me. If it's coming into, tell me about it. Because like there's this game coming out of Puff Pals, Island Sky. I backed it on Kickstarter. They raised so much money for this game. It's not coming out until like 2025, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it. Like they're updating on where they are, all this stuff. And like just the thought of it, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So now 3 years, that's a long time, but I don't know. I like knowing. Mm-hmm. I like knowing that it's in the future.
And Kickstarter is a special thing too.
I don't want them to be like, this is coming, winter of 2023, and then it just keeps getting pushed back.
Right.
I don't want that.
So do you think like it would actually be better if all that we got was Metroid Prime 4 is in development?
Yes.
And so like, I feel like that
is... Until they knew when it was actually coming.
That's how damaged we've become by all of this. Because I don't think that's a nice sounding scenario at all. That they just give us like they're making a game and who the hell knows when this thing is actually going to be released, and we'll just be waiting on bated breath for years and years and years. Like I think that's another type of weird Nintendo manipulation that we can look forward to in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been better off, like Breath of the Wild, I think would have been better off if they just never said that it was like coming.
2022?
2022, yeah.
Interesting.
Because like, I don't know.
Just given where we end up with it.
Did they know Like, I want to know what they knew and what pushed it back. Because obviously there are like things happen.
Yeah.
So like, I want to know what their confidence level was when they said that date.
Good point. Yeah.
And then, like, and then what happened
How dare
to make
you?
it push back?
Like, what were you thinking? Basically.
Like, at what stage of development were you in that you announced that?
Yeah.
And like, who's making these predictions? Because obviously you're not done. You're not even close to done. If you don't think you can get it out by winter of 2022, you're nowhere near done.
Is this actually more common now, or is it just that we're talking about it more? Like, is it actually, I don't know. I don't even know how exactly you measure that sort of thing, but I don't know. It's definitely just become a bit of a narrative that has almost a life of its own, that we're getting a little bit tired of game delays. And maybe it is just that after years and years and years of this, that we just don't. But like, this was the same thing with Breath of the Wild itself. It was supposed to be a Wii U game, and it took so long. It got delayed for so many times that it became a Switch game. Yeah, actually. So it's not like this is new. It's not even new within the last 3 years. It's been always.
Do you ever think it's purposeful to get us to talk about it?
I wonder that too, and I think that's to your point. Like, what was your actual confidence level? And there's no real checks and balances for that kind of thing. Like, there's no way for us to know.
Especially with Nintendo, because I don't think Nintendo thinks for a second, no matter how many times they delay Breath of the Wild 2, it will not impact the sale of it. Yeah, like, I don't think no one's going to be like, oh, well, it's delayed, I'm not getting it. Like, you burned me.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Yeah, they don't feel like they're missing out on anything by delaying it. Yeah, you're right.
No one's going to say that.
Probably
maybe
not.
Like 2 people.
But they're also like Nintendo. It doesn't really hit them nearly as badly as it does, say, like Xbox with Starfield and stuff. Because that's all they had. That's all they've got. Like with Switch, we've got lots to play. I would argue lots to play. I want to hear from the people who own a Switch who aren't like really stoked about this year. I think maybe Donnie Reese might be one of them, and we've talked about that as well. Yeah. But like, who owns a Switch and isn't really excited about?
Well, Donnie's just excited about his Steam Deck, so
that's fair. That's fair.
That's all I need.
That is like a moment, though. It's something that Nintendo maybe should be more worried about than they're demonstrating. They're on a bit of a high here. They've got a really successful console, but like the Steam Deck is basically a Switch. It just doesn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, does it plug into a monitor? It's not quite as easy, but they're basically one iteration away from that. So yeah, they gotta step it up here a little bit. I think Nintendo.
Agree. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that's all we have time for.
We did it,
Sean. So we did it. We did a show. Yay! Yeah. So where can everyone find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at Sean Capri. Of course, it's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And I'm going to have hopefully merch by the next time that we record live. So my merch has been ordered. And I think people should also go to our merch store as well that Caito so beautifully built for us.
Yeah, I wore our Nintendo Drive shirt today. You didn't get to see it, but I did wear it.
Yeah, so. Me too. Yeah, totally. Me too. Yep. And drank out of my mug and had a sticker.
I had to switch to my Caito Yacht Club shirt because I was cold. Yacht Club. But anyway, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Console Caito. That is all for episode 56 of the Nintendo Drive. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, make sure you don't go buy Bee Simulator. Okay, bye.
The Nintendo Drive is fueled by patrons at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful to the nearly 90 patrons who support us each and every month. With a special thanks to our ultimate producers, Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels. Please subscribe to youtube.com/Quest for Pixels today. Dallas Ford, Emily O'Kelly, Trucker Sloth, Jonathan Brown, who has a new album called In My Element. It's on Spotify and Apple Music. Drew Agnew, the handsome host of the House of Mario podcast. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. And Skinny Matt, who's hosting Carpool Gaming Community Game Nights. You can follow him at twitch.tv/SkinnyMattK. All the links for these ultimate producers are in the show notes, so click on each and every one. Follow, support all these people, please. Our platinum producers, Brendan Myers, Dano, Marcus McCracken, Mostly Martinez, Becky Rubin Navarro, Robbie Bobby Miller, and RJ Kern. And our gold members, Anna W., Argo, Ashley Nicholson, Cecily Carrozza, Dallas Robbins, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Nagachaka, The Snack Network, Tom Danks, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots at that gold level, which is amazing. And also welcome John32, our latest patron at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to support the Nintendo Drive, go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming and choose the tier that is right for you.